Alright guys, welcome to the pit. Alright, today we do have a special guest here, but first, let me introduce myself. My name is CroSoul. I'm here with my boy CroSoul, and we do have a brand new member with us. Now, to my left here, you can't see it, is a young fellow named Trainer Oblivio. Maybe the real CroSoul, we don't know. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yo, what's up, guys? Trainer Oblivio, or potentially the real CroSoul. I'm over here. We're just hanging out in the studio today, guys. We're gonna bring you some of the pits, some of your usual nastiness, your usual findings down here in this inky abyss. But going off, I'm just, a content creator, just your regular guy, holed up in an office for unhealthy amounts of time doing unhealthy things.
He's our Twitch man.
But enough about that stupid stuff. What are we going to start filling our holes with today?
All right, so today we're going to be talking about a bunch of things, but first topic, I want to know, what was your high school life like?
So we want to know a little bit more about the Trainer Oblivio. Okay.
Tell the people, they want to know. Tell the people some adventures, Tell us about what you filled your hole with.
I got you. Okay,
what color are your pubes, bro?
Okay, so the pubes color. So the story of the pubes color, that dates back to
1993.
We gotta take a little rewind on that one. I am pretty clean, pretty as clean as CroSoul's pubes today. So
super
slick, you know what I'm saying? Like
sparkling,
shooting a hot dog in a hallway type. Just but
what's high school did you go to? Like, tell us a little bit how your school was, man.
Trainer Oblivio actually went to a regular I want to say grade school, but it wasn't a grade school because I know grade school is basically like all the grades of your standard schooling. But I went to a standard high school, 9 through 12 in actually what is Tampa, Florida, South Tampa. And things were pretty regular for Trainer Oblivio. I was in basketball, got injured, put my stuff in things that didn't need to be put into.
No, when we were at the topic of schools, like mine was a little bit different. I changed a few schools, was the new guy in a few, was the old guy in not a few because I was the new guy all the time. But the big difference that I would think is like everywhere I went, I have a story to tell, a little bit of notorious. There was this one time I was sitting with some schmuck next to me and he had an axe, a little spray. We set the desk on fire. Now this shit's burning. What are we going to do? You can't, you tap it, it doesn't go out. So what we grabbed, solution was open the window store.
That's right. I mean, I don't know what else you could possibly do in that situation.
You could have peed on it, South Park style, but...
Before you made just burn it, though, you put your slung over that, it's going to...
come on, you ever have a good burnt hot dog?
Well,
that's what I'm saying. Nice
when I take my pants off, this is the sound that you hear. What about you, dog? How was your school?
All right, so first I started out, I was homeschooled most of my life, and then I went to a more rural high school.
Was your teacher hot?
The rest of the kids thought so, but not for me. So, anyways, I ended up going to public high school in the Tampa area, as well as a bit more rural. I came in understanding that the teachers were going to be, pretty fine, but the kids are going to suck. Well, it was the opposite. The kids were, basically fine. A couple, morons here and there.
Yeah, you always have them.
But the teachers were buttholes, man.
Well,
that way.
On top of that, how was your transition into you're going from the little high school life towards the college? Again, I'm a little bit not from the same area as you two. So what we did, we did some crazy crap. We're talking about one time we dressed one of my buddies in a bunny suit, put him in a barrel, just load him down the hill. Why we did that? I don't know, man. We did it. What about you guys? You guys do something like that?
I feel like where you're from, you can get away with more of that kind of stuff.
You guys don't die in Europe. You respawn.
That's true. That's you guys don't get a little clicker says continue or just...
We don't get the respawn, unfortunately, here stateside. But But as far as story goes, kind of piggybacking off of you and a buddy setting a desk on fire, I do remember one time I was in the back of the band room, and it was just a bunch of guys who were back there. Funnily enough, we were talking about any sizes, as all adolescents do. And obviously, to fill that little gap in the ego and just give ourselves that extra boost, everybody was just looking up any sizes. And as it turns out, we learned some pretty vital information. There is a white guy, or was actually, not that he deceased, but let me get to that part of the story. There was this white guy by the name of Jake. And funnily enough, one of our friends back there was named Jake. So his ego just shot through the roof. But he held the record for the world's largest penis.
I remember
at a
like
whopping 13.1 inches.
36 centimeters
That's,
for,
yep.
the Europeans that were listening to that. Pretty big schlong, bro.
That's some meat right there.
You say anything in centimeters, and I think, tiny. So
Yeah, I mean, again, some people go by that, some people don't.
That's right.
It's better to inform everybody, so they know. Like when you picture what is his name? Jordan?
Jake. Just think about you ever been to New York? Those big Jimmies, the Nathan dogs that they slap right there,
right,
and they put all the onions and stuff all over them. Just think of one of those.
Or simply audio this sound.
there you go.
It's just
You got it.
That's it. And hilariously, Jake did have to get a penile reduction surgery because the blood that flowed to his penis was too much.
Made him faint.
And it made him faint often.
Well, it made a lot of other people faint too, huh?
That's
actually pretty sweet. I'm pretty sure, again, let's be real, everybody listening to this, if you're male, there's a chance that sooner or later you were at that point where you're like, crap, let me actually check what the norm is, and then you find out the norm and you look down and you're either like, or you're like, oh, God, ooh, it's only those two. There's nothing else.
No in between.
I still, to this day, at my parents' house, and they have no idea why, but there's a wooden ruler in the desk by the computer, by the family computer over in the kitchen. You open up the desk, there's a ruler in there with a mark at the 6.25 marker. And to this day, they have no idea why. And, that's one of those moments where you're trying to push it in deeper into your fupa, trying to get that extra bit of length that might be hidden inside your body.
but that's actually a funny thing because I did hear there's extra 3 inches inside your body.
It tucks away in there a little bit.
Yeah,
it hides away.
I mean,
so you just
imagine if you're one of those little micro P9 men and you're like, man, yo, girl, don't wait until I send you a new. Let me send you an X-ray. And then she's like, oh. But the problem is, with the X-ray, again, how are you gonna get to it? Well, you take a little tweezer and you just do one of those little pullings, or you have to get that surgically done.
If they've got all the transition surgeries going on right now. What about just an extension surgery, right?
I feel what would they use to extend it though, right? What are we talking about?
Well, let's be real.
Barbecue tongs. just yank it a little bit. You got the skin right there, so you just kind of get a box cutter and cut around it, or some wire clippers. Just cut around it so you get the skin out of there. Then you're able to pull the rest of the flesh. Get some skin from the ass.
That's our new sponsor. Budget penis enlargement in Tampa. Check it out, dog.
Oh my goodness. And then continuing that story, we were sitting in the back there. Now we had one buddy and he was just notorious for smoking weed all the time. That's it. That's all he did.
Big whoop, huh?
Yeah, I know. But we're all sitting in the back there and we're just shooting shit like this. And all of a sudden it starts smelling like weed. And we're like, what? And we're looking in the back and this moron is giggling to himself, laughing. He opens up this whole bag of new shit he bought that morning. And it made the whole fucking back room and even out into that hallway smell like fucking weed. And the funny thing is that room was connected to the gym. The gym was right next to that room where we were sitting in.
Nice.
So every single dude in that room goes and grabs their fucking, Axe sprays or whatever. And they're trying to mask this shit. Long story short, some poor Mexican kid, no racial, in the gym got blamed for the weed and he got off scot-free. But, that's what it reminded me of.
It's always bullshit. I always try to blame the one quiet.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
He's not saying it's his fault. But anyways, going from school, what about your guys' first job? Because, mine...
Hold on now. Because I have a story, and it's a hell of a story.
Oh, you have a better one? Let's go ahead.
Okay, so my first year of high school, I actually started school a year early. So my first year of high school, a freshman for those in Europe, I was 12 or 13, right? So we're going to the beach, our school / church group, which makes this even worse. So we're going to the beach. It's great. And so it's time to leave. Everyone's covered in sand. So they wash off. They go to the bathrooms and change into their, street clothes. A bunch of girls decide that, well, he looks small. He looks like a nice guy. Let's go ahead and hand it to him. And these are like, sophomores, seniors, freshmen girls. And they're handing me their used swimsuits.
This is
I spot my opportunity. They're still warm. So everyone at this point is using the bathroom. They're getting changed and getting onto the bus with their dry stuff. I'm still in the bathroom. I'm still in the bathroom for a while. Another 10, 15 minutes go by, and I'm still in the bathroom. I'm enjoying my time jerking the gherkin. 30 minutes go by, and the bus driver comes in, knocks on the door, and says, "Hey, little bear, everything wrong with your bowels? Do you need some Pepto-Bismol?" I'm like, "No, everything's okay. I think I'm done." And I wipe everything off the walls. Try to desperately clean out the stains from the bathing suits, flush it, get on the bus, and these girls, they're looking at me. They know what just happened. They know. No. And so I got the reputation for being that guy.
Oh, no.
So we have a live action hentai protagonist in the room, looks like. Again, back to my topic. What do hentai protagonists, like, what is your first job? Like, do you just, sell celery in Publix, or you in Subway making the footlongs instead of just watching them, You know what I mean?
Or taking them.
Or taking them.
Or swallowing them.
Yeah. My first one, and I'm not gonna lie, first job ever that I had, customer service wise, was a sandwich shop, right? At first, didn't like it that much, but then got some friends over, you kind of love it, right? Until we had this dude, the tomato guy, man. Like, this man would come in, bro, like, he orders the sandwich, and every time he would, like, order the whole tub of the damn tomatoes. And, you're shoveling that crap on there, and it's like this freaking big. Until this one day, I refused to give it to him. Man gets super aggressive. He wants to fight, and I'm like, go ahead, bro. What are you going to do? Like, I have knives on my side. You're over there with tomatoes. What are you going to do? Nothing, right?
Right.
And it went to the point where he would actually look for me in the store to actually go to the little sandwich shop.
Yeah.
Right? Until the one time I was not there, and he snuck to Bert's freaking little shift. I come in, no tomatoes. Straight up had to close the shop that day. There was not a single tomato in sight. Do you guys have any Karens where you work,
So when I first started, unfortunately, the Karens that I knew when my first job were my bosses. So when I first started working, my first job, it was kind of like a side thing, really. It wasn't anything crazy. My buddy and I were really super into paintball. We would go paintballing almost every other weekend. We had the gear, the masks, we had the guns. We'd just go, go to the field and mess around. So, being that we were pretty well known at the field, and the field was run by like 2 college graduates that recently just, graduated from, university, they knew who we were, and they trusted us, and they have spoken to us before. So they kind of gave us a job where they would pay us, cash. So under the table, not taxed. Right. So, they just graduated. They didn't have money. So, so as it turns out, they kind of just wanted us to set up the fields, put up the plastic barricades and this, that, and the third, get on our hands and knees, do all this breaking work and stuff, and hammer things and stakes into the ground for a bit of pocket change. It was okay. I mean, it only took up like 4 hours of the night, and it was like the night before, and then during the following day, right? Because we would work from the late afternoon to evening. Then the following like afternoon, we'd be referees. We'd referee paintball games.
Right.
So a lot of it was just picking up crying children that got hit by a paintball and pat them on the back saying, "It's all right, little Timmy, you'll survive." It's nothing crazy. And making sure their moms weren't, flipping a lid because their kid got shot. That was mostly the job. So just rushing in, picking up a kid, sitting him down. It's okay, mom, it's okay. Nobody died. Everybody sings Kumbaya. But, sometimes it was like semi-pros, and I hated refereeing semi-pro games because they would hear you. You would be in a forest setting, in like the woods, and they would hear you crunch on a pile of leaves or something. Boom, 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 boom. They're just shooting in that direction without knowing or anything, and you're just getting pelleted by freaking paintball bullets, obviously. And you'd be like, hey, you know, it's the ref. Like, don't make me take your gun and use you. But
I mean,
unfortunately, my bosses were the Karens because a lot of the times it was kind of difficult for me, a 16-year-old that relied on other people to give me rides and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
It was sometimes a little bit difficult for me to get there. I don't want to say reliably, but just like on time, because I ran on somebody else's schedule. I didn't have my own vehicle back then. You know, I didn't have it like that.
Yeah, so you're pretty much like...
Yeah, so
I
pretty
mean,
much...
if you're getting paid on the table, what does it matter?
Exactly. So that was my whole bit. It was like, I still get the job done. We still leave here in time. So what's the big deal, right? Like if I show up 30 minutes or something like... But anyways, they gave me a hassle for it. And then in the end, they just wanted to be petty about it. They wanted to be true Karens, and they didn't respond to any of my phone calls or messages. And then they just kind of let me go. And I was like, all right, fuck it.
See, that just, in my opinion, just is like sad people. You know, like... And the fact that you were 16 and we were talking about adults over here.
Yeah.
Like, what's the responsibility in your life? Like, you feel really big. You screwed over a 16-year-old. Like, oof. Well, that's a moment in your life, isn't it?
And strong and destroy 16-year-old life.
What about you, James? How was your first job?
Okay, so my first job was at a fast food fish restaurant, and for those of you who don't know, Catholics love fish during Lent. And so every time that Lent rolled around, the 30 or 40 days before Easter, they would absolutely rip us sideways without lubrication. And so one of these days, I'm working the cash register, the drive-through, and a lady comes into the parking space where you're ordering the food, and she gives us her order saying, I want 4 Cokes. Well, sorry, we sell Pepsi. Are you okay with Pepsi? She's like,
we want 4 Cokes.
we have Pepsi. Is that okay?
Okay, we'll have 4 Cokes.
And then continues the rest on her order. So she pulls up. I get her order. She pays. She looks kind of a little bit miffed, but she's also in the line at this fast food fish restaurant, which, I mean, would, destroy anyone's day, really. So she goes home, I imagine, and she complains to her husband because a couple of minutes later, the restaurant gets a call, and the manager on duty lumbers his head through the door, and he's like, hey, Little Bear, come over here and take this call. I'm like, why? You're the manager. You take it. I'm in the middle of something. He says, no, you're really going to want to take this. So I walk in the back. I pick up the phone. I answer and say, hello, this is Little Bear. And the customer on the other end was a guy. And he says,
did you tell my wife you had Pepsi instead of Coke?
yeah.
Well, I'll have you know that.
Click. That was my proudest moment of all 3 years that I worked there. I just hit end, put it on the wall. The manager looks at me with his eyes wide open and his mouth agape, going, what did you do? I just said, I took care of it. Click.
See, that's one of those things I can personally respect. Like, the older you get as a person, the more you realize, like, the real people complaining in restaurants are the ones who are pretty much unhappy at home, somebody who has to get some type of steam out but doesn't have any friends or
outlet,
pretty much sad people, like Schmuckleon's 3.0. That's just my personal opinion.
They never evolved.
The one thing when I was a kid, like aside from all the school, growing up, what kind of shows were you in? Because, Dragon Ball for me, that was the shit. We're talking about like, I will go to my cousin, practice the Wolf Fang Fist, this second, he's getting hit with the Wolf Fang Fist. This second, he's not breathing. That type of, Dragon Ball action going on. Like the first games, I don't know if you guys remember, they were not that great. I still got him.
The Dragon Ball games?
Yeah, just because, the best Dragon Ball game back in, that day was Budokai 3, I think.
Okay,
a lot of people can agree with that.
Did you ever play the Game Boy Advance Goku's Legacy?
Absolutely not.
It was bad. It was so bad.
No.
Absolutely. I heard it was terrible. I didn't even want to. Just like if you're playing fighting games on Game Boy, have you heard about Mortal Kombat? Just don't do it. Like they cut out Scorpion and Sub-Zero in the first ones.
Although for the Game Boy Advance, there was Deadly Alliance, and that was pretty good.
Yeah, but we're talking about like more.
I'm not so
older,
good with the
you know,
names.
when you were
But
a kid,
what
there
was
was
that Dragon Ball game? It was a fighter, right? Because you could. It was a fighter. It was like side scrolling, and it was for the. I'm pretty sure it was for like either the NES or like.
That was for the Nintendo. I know
Yeah.
which one you're talking about. I don't know. I remember it, but it was like an RPG one type of.
Yeah.
I don't know. I remember
That
it.
fighter game was fun though.
That fighter game was pretty sweet. Man, I know which one you're talking about. I can't remember.
That's
the name
where
for
I'm
it.
at. I can't.
It was like you played the saga through. Like I remember the one where you were Gohan. You did like the little Pionomic. Yeah, I remember it. I just forget what was the name of it. But yeah, as a kid, isn't that funny? Like how you watch some of these shows, you know, and then you start growing up, and then two things either happen, right? You either outgrow them, like most of the people who watch Sailor Moon, or Dragon Ball Super comes out.
You
know?
That's right.
It's two of those things. Like,
Between-
what about you guys? Were you more like Digimon people or Pokemon,
Well,
Detective Conan?
unfortunately for me, I didn't really have like a show that I fondly remember that like maybe like
Everything
guided-
disappointed you.
It guided, not that it disappointed, just nothing really like kind of grabbed my attention.
Even Seinfeld?
I think even Jerry Seinfeld wasn't able to tickle me that way.
It was my favorite anime.
Corey in the house, man.
Corey in the House was a good time though. But unfortunately, I was just one of those weird kids that didn't watch a lot of TV. I was kind of like outside a lot. I didn't do TV too much. And if I did do anything TV related, it was video games. I never really like sat down and watched a show or a movie. But one thing I do remember from my childhood is fucking despising Ash Ketchum. And, and I hope that's something that a lot of people here can agree with. This dude is probably the most horrible. And now I know what you're saying, but I'll give credit where credit's due. We'll get to that point. But I'm talking about Ash from like seasons 1 to about 4 or 5. Dude was straight dog shit. Like, he was absolutely awful. He would do the worst things at the worst times. And this is coming from somebody that is incredibly passionate as a Pokemon trainer. So maybe that's where all this salt is coming from. But I will give credit. Season 5, season 6, season 7, Ash, pretty swaggy. Dude has some pretty good mons, and he did some pretty good stuff too.
I personally think this is just jealousy speaking because, you know, he used Pikachu to fry down a rock. You can't do that.
This is
only
true.
Ash Ketchum
only Ash
can
can
do
do
that,
that.
right?
So with that being said, who's a better Pokemon trainer? Ash or Michael Vick?
Who's Michael?
For those of you who like CroSoul over here who don't know who Michael Vick is, he was an NFL quarterback, very famous, and he was great at escaping things except for jail because he went to jail for dog fighting.
Yes.
Which, I mean, really, is there a difference
Dog
between
abuse.
that and Pokemon? Really? Nah.
According, not in Peter's eyes, anyways.
Which was his favorite Pokemon, Hondur or Arcanine?
No,
I
my
don't remember.
canine.
What? Yes,
That's
there you
true.
go, my Canine, right?
But Little Bear, yeah, tell us a little bit about.
All right, so I was 11, 12 in 2006, around that
The
era.
pre-stroking age.
Exactly. Well, and here's the thing.
The Golden Dawn.
Naruto came out around that time on Cartoon
And
Network.
it all went downhill from there.
I bought the headbands. I bought the Akatsuki jacket because I thought it was awesome. I wore it to school, and all I got from my fandom and all I got from my dedication and devotion was an addiction to hentai. I was like, and it's worse because I didn't watch Naruto Shippuden. No. I watched the original and only the original. And of course, I'm like, well, I'm at this age. I wonder if there's anything fun on the internet for this.
You know what the rule is, right?
34?
34.
So I go online and I see my favorite female character, Hinata. And again, this is normal Naruto. This is Lolly Naruto.
Well, then again, by you were yourself like, what, 12?
Exactly. I was 12. She was 12. It was perfect. But then I turned 13 and 14 and 15. So yeah, that kind of ruined me for a good long while. But then
I became a protagonist in hentai.
it's very true. I did. But one of the things that Naruto did get me into was martial arts. So that's when I started to do judo, and I learned that, hey, punches and kicks aren't very good if you're not a very strong person, you don't practice it. Instead, why don't you just throw people around and choke them to death?
Yeah,
That's a pretty strong jutsu.
It's a good strategy. I will say.
that's a pretty sweet one, like, and the one level above that is like the realization when you find out that most people are actually, allergic to deadly force, like stabbing and bullets. Man, and then you just pick up that martial art.
Gun fu.
That's right.
Bulleting and stabbing.
Oh, goodness.
9mm style. Gun jutsu.
Yeah, do you guys ever wonder why all these rappers today are sad? No, I mean, well, again, again, maybe because I'm a little older. To me, just like everybody, like you hear a song and it goes like this: "I'm in, I wanna kill myself. Oh, now I am already dead. Oh, like why is everybody sad? What happened?
What do you think about that, Oblivio?
Well, I really can't say a whole lot about that. I guess it's not good to talk. All right. Shit, you caught me off guard with that one. Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with drug abuse, substance abuse. A lot of that stuff, unfortunately, leads to thoughts like this. But that's not what we're here for. Because how many substances have you abused, little bear, CroSoul, in just the last 30 seconds?
I have abused taco. I have abused another taco, maybe some wine. Abused my psyche daily. Pretty much abused everything.
Yeah, I just seen him abuse his penis about 10 seconds ago. It was quite a sad sight. So,
Twice.
I mean, to be fair, though, the blisters look nice.
There was good grip. So to that, I can't really attest anything because, we abuse substances here. And I think we're adequately fucked up is the way that I will say this.
No. Let us get to this. The only one who straight up functions on cocaine is him. Don't pull me into this.
Don't
Donnie.
you dare,
Donnie,
I'm
if
not
you're
on this boat
listening,
with you, brother.
listen, Donnie, if you're listening, bro. Hey, no, please. Don't cut my check off, bro. I'm not on crack
anymore.
Clean for a whole 5 minutes.
But yeah, let's get to our favorite moment today. Like everybody's been waiting for that fuck you shout out, and today's fuck you shout out.
Mind if I do the honors?
You can have the honors for it.
Alrighty. Today's fuck you shout out, guys, is just off the top of the dome here, fuck erections, honestly. What the fuck is up with erections, guys? One moment you're fine, and you're just sitting in a sauna full of sweaty dudes surrounded by big, bulking, massive dudes, and all of a sudden you got a fucking erection coming out of your towel, and everybody's looking at you funny. I don't get it. What the hell?
Yeah, man, like funerals are terrible with that, dog. Like everybody's crying, you're over here bulging, dog. I don't know.
Most people get boners in like math class or something, but that's way worse if you're homeschooled.
Oh my goodness.
There's your answer, boys. The teacher was hot.
Oh yeah, this is true. This is true. But to that effect, fuck erections.
Fuck erection. Fuck erections and everybody who, well, I almost say everybody who has it, but that's me. That's me. No, just fuck erections.
Speaking of erections, anyways.
We're going to cut it today here. Again, if you want to check us out on YouTube, on Facebook, it's CroSoul Spit. Please like, share, and subscribe. And check our boy out, Trainer Oblivio over here. He's going to be the main Twitch guy from now on. So he does a little bit of Pokemon. He does a little bit of Zelda. Pokemons do him sometimes. There's always something to see.
And he's also got his own YouTube channel as well. So go ahead, give that like, share, and subscribe when you get a chance.
Thank you very much, guys, for any and all appreciation for both myself and the pit. If I think the utmost thank you right now would be to spit into the pit. Just see how far it goes.
That's right. And if you don't like it, you're a beta. Beta!
Peace out, guys.